Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Alyssa Lopez from the Challenge USA, who was sent home in the arena by Cassidy on Thursday night's episode. Alyssa, the Challenge vets decided to engage in some chaos by throwing random names into the hopper. They weren't really targeting you, but you had one ball in there, one, and your name popped out. So what went through your mind when that happened?
I wasn't surprised. I've had nerves the entire show being there. Didn't have any nerves when I went down. I am that friend that always has bad luck. All my friends are always like thinking I'm always dealing with something because I truly am. So wasn't surprised I only had one because I feel like strategically I was setting myself up well. Was not surprised I'd be the one that had the one ball to get sent in. So
So you went down there with no nerves. You were ready to go.
yeah, not even that I was ready to go. I was okay with either outcome. I kind of just accepted it. I feel like going home when you have 4 votes or 5 votes or you're the main vote, it's like, damn, what could I have done differently? What could I have done to make that not why? What could I have done to not be the target? But for me to go in over a little hat trick and one ball, like there's nothing else I could have done other than not be a rookie in their eyes, you know? So I was kind of okay with either outcome.
Well, you and Cassidy faced off in this game called Blockheads, and you were locked in these cages that you had to roll around. This looked exhausting. It seemed like both of you even had trouble just getting it moving initially. How tough was this?
I mean, it's hard for someone that's 100 pounds. Like I'm not moving that thing. So she definitely had a lead in the beginning because I couldn't figure out how to move it with my weight. And it would only roll like once or twice. So I started to just, as soon as it would tip, I literally jumped and threw my body into it. And I'd be rolling in this crate. So it's basically like you're falling down metal flights of stairs over and over and over again. And then you get up and then I was getting dizzy doing it. So it was really hard. I mean, no matter any physical challenge, it's going to be a little difficult for me because of my size. So
Is there anything you learned watching the episodes back on TV that you didn't know was going on while you were actually in the house? Or what surprised you the most to see happening?
the hat trick I didn't know until like a month or so after I found out. And I was like, oh, like I found out it was Tori. And then I was like, oh, I mean, strategically that makes sense. Like I wanted John A out, I wanted her out, like makes sense. But then to find out it was just pieces of paper bundled together, it was like, I mean, that's a lot of strategy for them. They don't do a lot of strategy. So props to them. That one I didn't know. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there was something else that I didn't know. Why do I feel like I knew a lot?
Who were you most loyal to? Like who was your number one or number two in the game?
Tiffany was I don't know if because I felt Tiffany was really close with Chanel, Desi, and Michaela. So I don't know where I placed on her roster, but Tiffany was my number one. And honestly, I needed it because for my mental sake, having her in there, it was really great. It felt like I had family in there and I could confide in her. I could go to her about things. So for my own mental health, I needed Tiffany in there. And I told her everything. And I know I told her a lot of things she didn't even tell those other girls. So Tiffany would have been someone that I would never say their name. And then Alyssa S would have been a close second.
And you competed last year on the Challenge USA. This year, of course, had those challenge vets enter the game. So how much impact did that have? And what was it like for you seeing them show up on those jet skis?
Um, it definitely had some impacts because now you don't know how CBS people are going to be. Are you going to be like me and Chanel who are going to speak their mind? Or are you going to be someone like Dusty who crawls up their asses? So like, I don't know which one you're going to be and you don't know who's playing that game and who's not. It was an easy way to just all of us band together and target. That's kind of how it was. And it wasn't like I was like, get the vets out because I never wanted Corey to go and I never wanted Wes to go. And Desi wanted Amanda. So I put her in, like it was like that. But I never, I think it was an easy way for all of us to be like, oh, these are the targets. And I wouldn't get too much blood on my hands because everyone would understand it.
Yeah, Dusty was fanning out pretty hard over bananas, and Lewis was not happy with that. When I talked to Lewis as well, he was like, "That was my only Amazing Race number." And then you also have people like Josh and Faisal who've played the challenge, so that's sort of they seem to be more loyal to the vets than they do Big
Yeah.
Brother.
That's where Survivor has the upper hand because they're Team Survivor like to the core. And we want to work with Big Brother, but we have people like Fessy and Josh who are not really loyal to us. So it's really difficult if you don't have like a solid foundation like Survivor does, and you have people like Josh and Fessy who are your foundation, and it's just like they're flip floppy. I mean, they were in that whole hat trick room to begin with, so.
So were you in agreement with Tyler and Monty in how they voted for they went after Survivor instead of vets? Like,
Yeah.
would you have done the same thing if you were on that team?
I think I wouldn't have vocalized it, but I would go with it because I wouldn't want Survivor people to put me at the blame. Because I think once Chris came back and was all like big brother, and like making this big scene, it kind of made the lines kind of show and be like, wait a second, they have 7 of them still here, and we've lost 2 of ours, Paulie and Amira. Like maybe we should start taking them out. I mean, only like 4 or 5 people make the final, and there's literally 5 Survivor girls still. So that was kind of when it was like starting to shift. They didn't show that we had like a big brother meeting that Wes Lily walked in on and like talking about it. So I really just wanted to always back whatever Tyler and Monty were thinking because I knew they'd always back up me. But I went in and I voted Chanel when I left because I was like, I want to make a move to benefit my own game. And I think once I leave is when it really starts showing.
What was the most difficult aspect of the challenge versus like your experience on Big Brother? 2 different games, you know, what's the biggest difference in how you have to come at it?
I think the biggest difference is it's not like you can just go in a room and cast a vote and that person leaves. It's like you have to. I mean, they did with this Hopper have kind of like a Big Brother Survivor-esque twist to it because there was a secret vote. But regardless, you can kind of still figure out who may have voted for you. And if you vote someone, they can easily come back. So that's what I've always liked about the challenge is that if you want someone out, you have to stand up and say it and risk your game to throw someone in, and you can't hide behind like the shadows and that person just leaves. So I think the aspect of it's not about if you have a unanimous vote or all these votes to evict you, it's you're down there, you got voted in, and you only have yourself to prove that you can come back.
After
You know what I
you
mean? You can't be mad at anyone else but yourself, basically.
after you lost that arena and TJ told you were going home, what were your thoughts? What are your thoughts on your performance, and how disappointed were you to go home at that stage?
I was actually really excited to go home and see my dogs.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think this season I wasn't as checked in as I was. I mean, I wanted to play more the strategic part this time around. Because I'm a Big Brother super fan, like that's what's in me. But I didn't mentally prepare. I did not physically prepare for this season. I was really busy with my business where I had no free time, and if I did, it was working. So the first season I had a trainer. I trained like 3 times a week and did all this stuff. This one I didn't do jack shit. So I was kind of going in not having my expectations of myself too high. And I was kind of okay with how I left because I cared about Cassidy as a person. So seeing her be able to win that elimination, because I know how that feels, I was like happy for her. And then I was also like, it was 1 vote. What could I have done?
Yeah.
So
She decided to return back to the blue team. What would you have done in that situation?
stick with blue. Blue is like the best team. Plus Bananas and Toy are on there, who I have verbally said I'm against. So as long as they're safe, I'm safe. So I wouldn't want to. Green has like all my friends on it. So I knew that they would never throw me in. And red is just chaotic. For my mental health, I couldn't do that. So I would have stuck with blue.
Well, just as a final question, a little off topic, are you watching the new season of Big Brother? And who's playing the best game?
No, so it's actually kind of sad. I have watched Big Brother since I was 9 years old, super fan. It was my dream to go on the show. I literally have a tattoo for Big Brother going on. Since then, last season, I was too triggered to watch. This season, I don't have that anxiety watching, but I don't have that excitement. So I have kept up with it on Twitter a little bit, but I've only watched like 2 episodes, sadly.
You're still traumatized by the whole
Yeah, it's
situation.
not even like I think my trauma is over at least a little bit. But last season I couldn't watch it because of it. But this season I just don't have that excitement. I don't know if it's because I did it and I I really don't know what it is because there's a lot of people that are still watching it after their season, but I just don't have that excitement. I'm gonna go with America since her last name's Lopez. So I gotta root for the Lopez. So.
All right. Well, it was a bummer to see you go this early from the challenge. Bad luck with the draw, but we hope to see you back out there sometime. And thanks for sitting down and chatting with Gold Derby today.
Thank you so much.